Right, so we're working back on the box today. Haven't had a lot of time to film, but I haven't done much today at work. I cut the two holes out there for the actual sub-terminals. I've also got the perspex all cut up, so that's our window panel for the top. And then we have our port, which is glued and constructed. So I actually just got some glue from the actual perspex shop, which is kind of a no-name thing, but it works on perspex. Anyway, so it's constructed and glued. It's going to set overnight, and then we have obviously our fascia kind of trim bit that goes around that'll be actually mounting the port with. So anyway, I'll show you once I actually get that all finished and pull back, get the clamps off it and everything, but right now she's just glued. Right, just about to trim the amp racks here. Pretty simple. Alright, these are our very simple amp racks. Obviously the two backboards for the bigger amps, just trimmed. As I said, I'm going to put brackets on the back of those, some L's or something, and that's just like a little podium for the other amp. Which obviously I've trimmed the underneath of it as well, so it's all pretty neat looking. Alright, 3 finished amp racks. These have brackets on the rear like that to hold them up, obviously on each one, and this guy has little bracket feet like that on the back. So that's that, and I'll mount my amps on it. Just like that. Pretty heavy too, so that's made of perspex. And what I got to do here is glue on the front panel of it, which will sit just like that. So obviously that's also perspex. So that'll be glued onto there. Now there will be holes through this one to mount it to the box, but also the way this will go through the hole in the box, there'll also be kind of resting on about double 18 baffle, the way it'll sit. So that'll also give it a bit of strength for the weight. It won't all just be these screws holding it in. You've got to see what happens when you router perspex. This is the last edge. I just thought I'd have to show you. Alright, so I just put a bevel on the edge of the port, and as you can see it makes a huge mess. So yeah, we just rounded the top side of that. Some pretty subtle, nothing stupid on that, but it's just make it not sharp, because the edges of the perspex are very sharp. So that'll be against the box, but just gives it a smooth, and also kind of a frosted edge for around the port. And I've just glued it and then taped it down, and I've just put something this heavy. This thing weighs a fair bit, so I'll just chuck that on top, and that'll just sit there. There's a bit of glue running down the sides, but it's only running onto the cardboard paper stuff, so that's about it. So this is the panel with the perspex. Perspex is actually this piece in the middle, so I've just cut that out. You won't actually see any of this anyway, because there is actually going to be a border the whole way around. They'll end up covering it back up, so you won't actually see this edge, because the window is that big, but it won't be that big when it's in the car. So anyway, that's the panel that pretty much flushes the window. Now it is sitting 3mm lower right now, but I've still got to make a gasket all the way around it, and it'll beef it back up a bit. So that's how that's working. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is trace this inside piece onto another piece of wood, and then bring it in about 15mm, or just over half an inch, and that'll give us obviously a spot taxi to make the gasket on and mount it down on. Alright, and then that's the perspex window, and then I've got this other panel, which is the outside piece that goes around the actual perspex. So drop that on there like that, and then that is the top of the box. As I said, there's a gasket obviously in between the perspex and that'll puff it up a bit and probably get it pretty much bang on the height of that. Obviously I didn't want it to be higher than that, and then obviously there'll be the actual top piece of the box that'll actually cover, that'll probably sit, you know, like that in and that in like that, so then you won't see any of what's underneath it. front of the box with the port cut out. This would be actually the back baffle that the actual sub's been mounted to. That is the outside baffle. And obviously I've just cut out the port. So what I'm going to do now is glue these two bits of wood together. So there'll be one, and then obviously cut out the inside of that, and I'll be able to just router it easily. And then we'll have two matching holes. Now it is off center. The reason it is because in the car there is a step which runs at that height there, so that the height of the hole, this 12mm here, is actually the thickness of the port. So actually the whole of the port will be perfectly in line with the step on the front. So the port won't be blocked by the step at all. Alright, that's that panel glued and nailed together. And as you can see on the back side, we've got the port, which I'm just going to have to router out. Alright, and there is the front of the enclosure, and obviously the Perspex port goes through that hole and mounts on the front, and obviously extends into the box about 30cm. So that is that. Easy as. So we'll get the rest of it back on the bench, and we'll start putting it together. Alright, that's starting to look like something now. So that's the front of the box, just sitting in there, and I've just got another piece in the back there to hold the back up before I obviously screw it all together. Right, so that's glued and screwed together, so that's all that. I'm just about to put this beauty piece on as well, because it's just part of the frame. As I said, the Perspex just kind of goes in the middle of it, so they can all go together. Once that's all together, I can start painting the inside. So I'm going to do a few coats of white to make it thick inside, so I'll get at least one done today. Alright, and we are up to painting the inside of the box. So she's all constructed, vacuumed, and everything that it needs to be. I'm actually going to roll the paint on nice and thick, and as I said, I'll probably do 2 or 3 coats. So we'll do the first one now. Other than that, as you saw, I know I already built the amp racks, so they're already made to go over here. And as well as I've just got to cut holes out for the speaker wires, but I'll worry about that later. And then this side is literally just a piece of Perspex in there, and that's about it. I do have to drill holes in this, so I'll get the paint. Once the paint's fully set, I'll be able to just drill those holes later on. But it's whatever, it's not really a worry right now. So anyway, let's go ahead and just put down a coat of paint. Our first layer of paint. This is an enamel. Fuck, it's strong paint. This is not really a ventilated room, bar this door. So anyway, this is done. I've still got holes to drill, as I said, for the top for the Perspex. I've even still got holes to drill for the subs, but I just wanted to get a layer in there today because I didn't have anything else to do on the box. And I'm still waiting for some stuff to show up. I've got a bunch of T-nuts on the way, but they haven't shown up yet. I've also got LEDs for the box that haven't shown up yet. So once that stuff shows up, I can do the rest. But anyway, that's the box for now. And so there, these bits here want to be white because you might see through the window around the back of the sub. Same with the inside of the port. The Perspex will be going through it, so you want it white around it. So yeah, anyway, that's it for now. There's really not much else I can do on the box. Going to do a bit more work on the car itself. So I'm not just doing a box, I'm also doing a full install. So this is all my amp cabling, so RCAs and speaker wires, which are running obviously up to the deck, which tap into the factory wires and power back through them. So that's where the 4 channels got to be wired up in the rear, as well as obviously the 2 monos. And this car's got the works, got the headrests, and got a nice Pioneer CarPlay unit in the dash and everything. So it's already got the Alpine X series speakers in the front and rear doors as well. Right, we're going to call that the end of part 2 for the Prado. As you can see here, I just got all the cables ran for the 4 gauge and everything, for all the amps. Got the dash out, or the RCA's up here, so everything's ready to be wired. I've also got to do UHF. I'm just waiting on the antenna to show up. That's why I put the dash back together. So that's that. And yeah, so up the front end, we've got triple fuses mounted just down there. We've got our 4 gauge lugs and everything there. So the car's coming along, because obviously I've got to wire everything, not just build a box. That's that port. I'm just going to leave that set over the weekend, and she should be ready. And as another addition, this has just been added, so we're doing this giant power inverter as well. This thing is like $1,700. So as you can see, there's a lot of money going in this car, a lot of good quality gear. So anyway, that's getting added now as well. So anyway guys, I've had enough for the week, And that'll be it, so stay tuned for more. And there's also a video coming up on this car, and actually one on the other car as well.